And welcome to a new session, web application development using Flask. Let's continue with a different concept of static filing. The files which we require regularly as a part of HTML page, we can store somewhere in the location using Flask. So these are called as the static files. So let's see what static files are actually meaning here. So your web application often requires a static file such as JavaScript file or the CSS file, which is acting as a support for the display of web pages. So generally when you write an HTML page, we use the JavaScript file for programming the HTML, we use CSS file for styling that HTML there. But till this point we have used only the HTML, we have not seen how to use JavaScript or CSS file there. Usually the web server is configured to serve them for you, but during the development these files are served from static folder in your package or next to your module, and it will be available in the static folder on your application. Special endpoint static is used to generate URL for the static files. So we'll use this, we'll be making use of a JavaScript code, and that JavaScript code will call in the HTML code. So basically we need to connect them together with the help of some methods like URL for will also be used over here, and which file you have to connect, that also we have to mention there in it. So how to do it? Let's connect and let's see how to make use of a JavaScript file in the Flask and connect it with the HTML codes there. Okay, so let's create a new file. Okay, now this will call basically the index.html file. So let's see. So this is static file. Okay, and let's use render template also. Okay, create the object of Flask. Okay, fine. So let's create a default route here as the slash. Okay, and let's define one more method here called as show. So it will call the show.html render show.html, and now this HTML file is linked with another code, another JavaScript code. So where to save it, how to use it, that we will see here. So let's go for the show.html now. So this file we have to create a new file, save it, show.html name. Okay, so HTML. Yeah, so if you are already aware about the JavaScript, so you are knowing how to include the JavaScript code. Okay, so here we will include that, and in body we will call it by using event handling. Okay, yeah, by using event handling we'll call. So in header we need to mention the script. Okay, so what is the type of script that we will be using? Okay, and that is what we call as text / JavaScript. So yeah, if you are knowing the JavaScript concept, you will be aware about it. Okay, let's use double quote because below also I will be making use of the same. So here source src. So what is the source of your JavaScript file is? So as I told in this session also, we need to store that JavaScript files into a static folder, but how to refer it? So here also I can make use of a URL for, and URL for will make use of a file name. So how to do this one? So let's use here URL for. Okay, for what you have to mention the URL? Okay, for which particular folder? Static. Okay, and what is the file name? File name is like index.js for example. Okay, and it's completed. And let's complete the script also. think something is missing. Yeah, it's here, then URL for, it's correct. Yeah, this is not completed. Correct. Script is over now. Yeah, correct. We'll put it on new line. Yeah. So text JavaScript is a script that will be including with the HTML code here, and URL for static is a folder name in which you are storing it. What's the file name? Index.js. So this is a JavaScript file in which I'll be showing or saving the JavaScript functions that I'll call when I'm clicking on certain button. So which button? So let's create that button here. First of all, let's have an input type is equal to, okay, maybe your button I'll be creating, and let's have a method here on click. So when you click on that button, when you click on that particular button, I want to call a function. Which function? Okay, so which function? Let's call a function name as display, and that display function is stored inside the your JavaScript file. Okay, so let's see, click me, that will be the value present on the input. Okay, like this. So let's finish it. Okay, correct. Show.html will be called by static.py file. It's containing URL for static, and I need to import the index.js file. Okay, import.js file, and then when I click on the display button, this button, click me button, we'll call the display method. So this display function is present inside index.js, which is I have not created yet, but we'll create it. Let's see the output of this code first. I'll run debug it. Let's try. Yeah, it's running perfectly. And now open your service. Okay. Yeah, show.html is not found. Why? The problem is your code is not saved in templates folder. Okay, so just make sure it should be saved into the templates folder. Yeah, here. Save. Done. Now refresh it. Yeah, I got the button now. Now when I click on this button, this is extracted because it's stored into HTML page, and when I click on that, it will call the JavaScript code. But remember, it's not calling it because I have not created the JavaScript code and I have not saved in the static folder there. So to do this one, I will create a folder here. Go to your current working directory where your files are saved, and then here I will create a folder called as static. And inside this folder, I want to create that index.js file, this one. And inside that, I need to create the particular function that will be called afterwards. So same case is present for the CSS codes also. If you want to add CSS codes, same method you have to use there. If you are knowing the cascade style sheets by which the decoration to HTML are possible, so same way we can do it. Okay, so let's create a new file, and let's use a function whose name is display. Okay, fine, and yeah, so let's have a alert. So let's use the alert method by which you can just show an alert of something. Yeah, again, let's write something different. Don't click me. Yeah, and save this file into static folder. Here in it, what's the name of it? Index.js. So JavaScript file is created and it's saved into the static folder. Check it out, static folder, it is saved. Okay, wait a minute, so it's not taking it. Yeah, double quotes are required. Same thing, it's presented, it's done there. Perfect. Index.js, correct, finished. Now let's refresh it. Click. Yes, I got it. Don't click me. So when I click on the button, it got the don't click me, because this is alert message shown from the JavaScript code to me. Okay, so how the files are connected. You just can observe in your current working directory. See, your main file static is stored, which is calling from templates. Which folder? Which file? Show.html, is calling from that, and show.html is calling the JavaScript file index.js, and how they are linked together. So when the files are static, when you have to make use of this JavaScript or CSS file, that should be stored into the static folder, and how to make use of them, how can I make use of them in this way, in this particular source method mechanism, I can add these files into your code, and we can make use of its internal methodology, functions, and all other programming parameters here, like in this way. So try the code, check the output, static files. Thank you.